Hello, welcome to HITC Sport, and someone, please just knock on the door of Rafa Varane and just check and see if he's okay. Can someone just go and check on him? Come on. Because again, I wouldn't be surprised if he's wrapped in a cashmere blanket, sitting on a beanbag, shoveling ice cream in his face, whilst watching Notting Hill on repeat, sobbing massive Lucozade flavoured tears into a bowl of hobnobs, just pining for Real Madrid. Why did he leave? This man who's virtually all his life, all he's ever known is just partnering Sergio Ramos in defence for Real Madrid. And by the way, I mean, some people, mainly Liverpool fans, want to pretend that Ramos is just some erratic baked potato of a defender, but no. Make no mistake about it, this man was a titan of the sport, a born winner, even now at PSG. Yes, his body functions to about the same degree as that bald professor of X-Men, but don't doubt it for a second, he would gladly bite the head off a stray rabbit to guarantee a Champions League title. Weirdly enough, Man United wanted to sign him back in 2015, right? Can you imagine if Ramos had come to Old Trafford to partner first Chris Smalling and now Maguire? And not only that, he would have to call Harry captain. No, that's like Scarface being told what to do by Susan Boyle. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, Ramos definitely wouldn't accept that. If Harry even tried to talk to him in the canteen, he'd probably instantly shove a dead gerbil down his throat before, burning the armband in a bin. But Varane, he's too nice. This is arguably the second best centre-back on the planet, and this is how he's spending the peak years of his career. Stuck on a wet and windy bog in Burnley, watching his partner in crime scurry about like a brainless badger. Ozzy, Varane, the disrespect you've had at this club. Firstly, you were denied having the number 4 shirt by a possessive man called PJ, and now you are captained by somebody who couldn't even get into a whole City team picked by Steve Bruce. It's not as if Maguire is some up-and-coming wonder kid who's going to grow into the captaincy. No. Both he and Varane are the same age. Except the difference is when Varane was winning his second Champions League, this fella was getting relegated to League One with Wigan. Varane is a world-class centre-back moulded on the grubby streets of Lille. I mean, becoming an elite world-class centre-half was always the goal for this guy ever since he was a kid. But Maguire, an £80 million centre-half, was a midfielder in Sheffield United's academy until he was 17. So let me get this straight. The first time Manchester United's captain ever tried out playing centre back was in 2010 when Bruno Mars was on the radio and Avatar was in the cinema. It's not that long ago. This is like finding out your taxi driver only got his driving license 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you're probably going to be worried that he'll drive into a tree. I mean, this man discovered the art of shaving before he ever played centre back. This is a guy who spent his teenage years watching Drake and Josh and learning how to kiss a girl before he ever played centre back. This is a guy who probably had already drank beer and had snapped 3 condoms before he ever played centre back. Probably behind the bins outside a church in Yorkshire. Probably with his cousin. I mean, this was the 2011 Youth Cup final between Manchester United and Sheffield United. I mean, at the time, if you'd been told there was a future Manchester United captain somewhere amongst that list of players, I mean, honestly, it'd be like a weird game of Where's Wally with minors. But you'd think, okay, maybe Tom Thorpe or Michael Keane. Maybe even Ravel Morrison, right? To be fair, considering he's about as predictable as Count Olaf, I'm guessing Captain Morrison would probably dole out his team talks by throwing a kettle full of hot piss in your face. But yeah, if you try and pinpointed the 2 footballers in that squad who'd go on to cost over £80 million, I mean, back in 2011 when that was Ronaldo money, then honestly, you'd be picking Pogba and Morrison, not, the fat-headed number 5 in the Sheffield United team. I mean, especially considering that Blades youth team came to nothing. Most of them just wound up at Grimsby, Bray Wanderers, or cleaning toilets at a car dealership. But if they have a reunion, Maguire will arrive in a 2022 Porsche, while the others probably all have to take the bus. Just a bit embarrassing. But anyway, yeah, my point is that Varane, he deserves better than this. 10 years ago, then sure. If Varane had replaced Rio Ferdinand in 2010, then alongside Nemanja Vidic, he would be able to show the world what a world-class defender he is at Old Trafford. But I'm sorry, lining out alongside Maguire, again, it's like sitting beside your incontinent granny on a bus. I mean, you can't ever really relax, because at any point, you just know your feet are most likely going to be covered in second-hand apple juice. Varane is a player who could have gone on to have a Manchester United legacy maybe on par with Rio Ferdinand, if circumstances were different, because he was Fergie's first choice before he signed Phil Jones. If Rio Ferdinand had joined Manchester United when he was 28, so in the year 2007, and instead if he was forced to play alongside someone like Johnny Evans, then he wouldn't have been successful either. Just feel bad for Rafa. Varane probably hasn't been this permanently unsettled in a back 4 since he played in a Lens defence with Frank Lampard. That former Middlesbrough left back who could have played for Ireland. I guarantee you not one single person watching this video will remember who the hell he was. I mean, he was about as memorable as David Schwimmer's armpit. I mean, do you remember it? Listen, I said in my preview for the match the Turf Moor was no longer anything to be scared of, right? Man United haven't dropped points in this ground since 2014. Burnley have one win here in over a year. It's no longer the big bad wolf. This is no longer the fortress it once was. This is no longer like stepping into a haunted church, right? And yeah, Paul Pogba sticks Man United 1-0 up. And then in one instant, Maguire shows that he has the positional sense of a doorknob. I'm sorry, I remember in the great Manchester United teams, I once saw two defenders turned inside out by Kaká. You know, the Ballon d'Or winning Brazilian? Now I'm seeing them getting spinned into next week by Wout Weghorst before passing the ball into J. Enrique Rodriguez. Okay, forget the exotic name, which makes him sound like a cousin of Jennifer Lopez. No, make no mistake. He is still just a 6'1" sweaty lump just born 2 miles down the road in Burnley. He is Burnley born and bred. He is a one-cap wonder with hamstrings about as reliable as a pig's menstrual cycle. On FIFA 22, he's got 67 pace, and yet Maguire made him look like Usain Bolt. Ozzy, how slow is Harry? This is a man who stuck his fingers in his ears after scoring against Albania to
silence the haters!
Silence the haters. Yeah, as if he's Kendall Jenner holding up some Gucci flavored toothpaste on Instagram. I maintain no Manchester United captain should ever retain the armband after a 6-1 defeat to Tottenham and a 5-0 embarrassment against Liverpool, because clearly this isn't working. He's got the leadership skills of a postbox. Harry Maguire at Manchester United is what I thought Virgil van Dijk would have been at Liverpool. Because I mean, come on, when they paid £75 million to take an out-of-form sulking Dutchman from Southampton for a monster fee, I'll admit it, I thought he was just a mid-table brand defender. But I mean, can you blame me? They were choosing a shot from the same company who sold them Dejan Lovren, which is like going back to the same Indian takeaway that keeps giving you food poisoning. But no, Maguire, again, this is just embarrassing. It was such a lazy pick to go and get him from Leicester. Instead of the club doing some extensive scouting across Europe, you know, where they could have picked up Ruben Diaz from Benfica, or Pau Torres from Villarreal, or Amarca Laporte from Athletic Bilbao. Nah, instead you just gone and signed the fella who slapped in that World Cup goal against Sweden before chatting up someone in the crowd. It's shocking. Manchester United right now, this is rubbish. Newcastle 3, Everton 1. Newcastle United are staying up. Finally the club has built a team the fans can be proud of. Ozzy, this might just be the biggest makeover job ever seen halfway through a season. I mean, the team who began this campaign, they had a burnt cheesecake like Freddie Woodman in goal, and there was an unambitious 5-man defence. I mean, look at this. Jacob Murphy, Emil Kraft, Federico Fernandez, Kieran Clark, and Matt Ritchie. Not one of them gets in the starting 11 under Eddie Howe. I mean, yes, for Steve Bruce, this was the idea of catnip on a sandwich. To him, he looks at that 5-man defence and drools down the corner of his chin. But, I mean, they're all gone now. There was a midfield three of Isaac Hayden, John Joe Shelby, and Miguel Almiron, and then a front two of Callum Wilson and Alisson Maximin. 2 of those players started last night. 2! This is a completely new team. Christ, well, Bruce was still trying to play Joe Linton as a centre forward. I mean, he's about as much a striker as I am a Moldovan housewife. I mean, last night the team had 9 shots on target. That is almost unheard of. They went 1-0 down in the first half to a Jamal Lascelles own goal, although to me that looked like a Mason Holgate goal. A minute later, Mason Holgate scores an own goal, although to me it looked like a Jamal Lascelles goal. And then, in the second half, tiny Ryan Fraser, who finally is back to his best under his old boss, he nips in to score a second, and then Kieran Trippier smacks in a late free kick. Incredible. I mean, don't underestimate just how good Trippier is. In any other generation, and this man would have had as many England caps as Gary Neville. I mean, I'll go as far as saying this. I think Trippier is an all-round better footballer than Gary Neville ever was. 4 years ago, he was linked with a £50 million switch to Real Madrid. I mean, come on. Manchester City as a club have made very few mistakes, right? Especially when trimming players from the academy. I mean, dumping the likes of Loris Karius and Ben Mee. I don't think anybody really cares about that, but I'm gonna say this, getting rid of Trippier, that cost you about 50 million quid. Because trust me, Tottenham fans will tell you, he can do just as good a job as Kyle Walker. And there's absolutely no reason why he couldn't have been Pep Guardiola's first choice. Honestly, trust me, in this competitive environment for England right backs right now, if Gary Neville was a player now, he'd also be trying to dig up the passport of a dead relative so he could go and play for Poland instead. But this is further proof of how Daniel Levy, at times, demonstrates he has the brains of a melted milkshake, because 3 years ago, he was offering Trippier to Roma and Napoli, before going on to buy Matt Doherty. You know, a walking cabbage from Dublin. And the club have even got a £40 million superstar from Brazil waiting in the wings like Bruno Guimaraes to come into the team. Honestly, this team are staying up. And yes, by the way, here's a bold statement, right? prepare for this. Alan Saint-Maximin would be a perfect replacement for Leo Messi at Barcelona. No, I'm not saying he's anywhere near as good a footballer, but what I am saying is that ASM right now is a better footballer than any winger or wide forward that club have signed since Neymar. You know, back in 2013. And yes, I include both Griezmann and Dembele in that list. To me, Saint-Maximin, put him in a top class team and he will be magic. Honestly, I mean, who am I to tell Didier Deschamps how to do his job? But the France front three for the Qatar World Cup should be Kylian Mbappe, Karim Benzema, and Alan Saint-Maximin. Thank me later. But it's so refreshing to finally see the Mike Ashley cobwebs blown off this Newcastle team. Here's a tragic stat. This was the first time the Geordie fan base have been in St James's Park to witness their team win a Premier League match by more than one goal since beating Southampton in April 2019 under Rafa Benitez. That is mental. I mean, Jacob Murphy even hit the post last night. It could have been 4-1. And Newcastle have not scored 4 goals at home in a Premier League match in nearly 6 years. May 2016. That is laughable. I mean, even Watford managed that this season against Manchester United. I mean, come on, Newcastle have been stale for years. Until now. This is the rise of Newcastle United. This was the first game which proved to the world that this club is ready to dominate the planet. I mean, there's always that one breakthrough match. For Man City, the one that sticks out to me is when they smacked Arsenal 3-0 at the Etihad in November 2008, with Robinho eating the entire Arsenal defence on toast. This was a game where it all clicked, and this was the match for Newcastle. That Robinho chip over the goalie was the moment for Man City fans. This Trippier free kick was the moment for Newcastle. I mean, the atmosphere around this ground has mostly been dead for years. I mean, nothing to do with the Geordie fan base, everything to do with Mike Ashley sucking the optimism out of the club like a morbidly obese vampire. But honestly, over the next 10 years, this stadium is going to be rocking, utterly bouncing. This is going to be England's answer to Borussia Dortmund's Westfalenstadion on European nights. I mean, this will be the black and white wall. Trust me, no set of fans on the planet should be as excited for what is about to come than the Geordies. Mark my words, Newcastle United will win the Premier League title before 2030. I mean, trust me, if they don't, I will shave myself bald and eat my hair with a spoon. But as for Everton fans, oh, you probably feel like biting off a chunk of your own armpit hair now. You are in such a mess. Frank Lampard, are you sure you want this job? Really? New manager bounce? Everton are a complete wet banana of a football team. I think a relegation to the Championship, it would be humiliating for a club bankrolled by Farhad Moshiri, yes. But it might be a slap in the face that this club needs. And maybe they could build up from the ground again. Maybe a season of travelling to Huddersfield and Rotherham is what they need next season. This is a fan base dreaming of Champions League, right? And yeah, it's going to be very sobering now playing Tuesday night games against Reading and Wigan, but maybe this is what you need. But no, for Lampard, this is not what you need. Because if he takes his Everton squad down, then he is done. I mean, surely he'll be sacked in May, and then he's got 2 choices. Either swallow his pride and become a BBC pundit, maybe replacing Danny Murphy on Match of the Day, or go back to Derby County to do a rebuild job in League One. I mean, maybe swap jobs with Wayne Rooney, because honestly, if you take Everton down, you are finished. West Ham 1, Watford 0. David Moyes says he is disappointed in Kurt Zouma. I am disappointed in David Moyes. I'm not saying Zouma should have been sacked. I mean, you don't have to repossess his house, take away his kids, make him homeless before forcing him to drink cat piss out of a Capri Sun. No, that's not what I'm saying. But this was your chance to take a stand against animal cruelty and just drop him for a match. I realise he's your best centre back, but I'm sorry. The morning of the match, we discovered that he enjoys kicking cats. Moyes, you needed to send a statement out. I mean, this is wrong. If young West Ham fans turn up to the stadium and see that, oh, Zuma's not picked today, I guess he's being punished because clearly what he did was wrong, and no, you shouldn't kick cats. But no, the only lesson that was learned here is that it just seems to be a case of, oh, whatever, we'd really like to punish him, but we want Champions League football, and that's more important than the welfare of a cat. That just seems to be what it sounds like. It's not as if you had nobody else. He set you up as a centre-back once linked with a £75 million move to Manchester United. Clearly, he is a capable defender. I'm pretty sure he could have stepped in to pocket Josh King for the night. But this, just poor. Anyway, that's it for this episode of the question. What do you think? Alright, let me know in the comments below. What do you think of the games last night? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.